Hey everybody, welcome to NJ Fire Guys, run number 33 with Capt Bryan Emenecker from the City of Camden Fire Department. Capt Bryan Emenecker, a 27-year veteran of the fire service and a retired captain from the City of Camden Fire Department, as well as a former member of New Jersey Task Force 1. Bryan started his career in the Cherry Hill Fire Department and after 3 years was appointed to the City of Camden. Upon graduation from Proby School, he was assigned to Truck 2 on Platoon 2, then transferring to Rescue Company 1 on Platoon 3, Truck 2, and Rescue 1 on Platoon 3. Promoted in 2008, Capt Bryan to captain, Bryan was assigned to the training office and then to Squad Company 7, where he served for 3 years. He finished his career out back at Ladder 2 and Rescue 1 when he retired in 2020. Capt Emenecker has spoken around the country at many conferences and is an instructor with South Jersey-based training company Safety Survival Training LLC. He is currently enjoying the retired life with his family in Eastern Tennessee. Without further interruption, I'd like to introduce Capt Bryan Emenecker. Hey, Cap, how are you tonight?
How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Glad to have you. I've been
yeah, man.
looking forward to this.
I do too. I really appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad to hear that everything's okay, and you and your family are safe down in Tennessee.
Yeah. We got real lucky. Like I was, right pre-show we were talking. We're probably 5 miles from the affected area, and the affected area is absolutely devastated. I was down there on Friday when the hurricane was rolling in with the company that I work for, and we were assigned to rendezvous with another unit down there, and it didn't even happen. It didn't get to happen because every bridge was taken out, and it was just it was really bad. It was really bad, and it's progressively not getting better right now.
Now, is the flooding like I know that's a lot of hilly and mountainous area. Is it because it's rocky and mountainous? It's just not seeping in and it's running
that's a great question, Nick, because as a Yankee, I'm asking questions like that living down here.
Yeah.
And the real sad part is that area it's not a quote unquote flood zone. All right.
No,
there are a number of dams, large dams in maybe that 40 to 50 square mile area.
Mm-hmm.
And right in the area, the affected area where the East Tennessee line is, it's like we call it, I shouldn't say we, but the natives down here call it right around the mountain is Asheville. So Asheville's it's only an hour away from us.
Okay.
So the dam had let loose, but the river runs this way. So water just, passed the least resistance and got in the Nolichucky River, which is it's a pretty large river down this way. And it really, the devastation, I've ever seen anything like it. And hydraulics, never ceases to amaze me. But a lot of devastation, a lot of bad things we saw that night, houses, unfortunately. And the sad part is 99% of these people don't have flood insurance.
Yeah, because why would you?
Why would I need it, right? Why would I need it? And so it's a devastating thing. And like you said, with the mountainous areas that we're in here, like I'm like it's 5 miles down from 5 to 8 miles down from the affected area where the flood was, and I can look out the window right here, and the big mountain range, is all right on this side of me.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll tell you, when we were out there Friday, there's no power, there's no internet, there's no cell service, and you want to talk about jet black. Jet black. And we're trying to navigate our way back to a certain gorge bridge that we can get to get back over, quote unquote, onto this side of the river.
Yeah.
So now they're affectionately referring to it as the island of Greenville.
Wow.
because it's been cut off. So, but yeah, it's devastated, and I got to be honest. There's things that I saw, sections of the stuff that I saw, that I'm not too sure it's recoverable.
Yeah.
There's just so much earth was moved, and
Terrible.
it's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
Terrible.
So.
Well, I mean, up here probably on a much lesser scale, you saw those floodplains after, Superstorm Sandy.
Yeah.
Mother Nature drew a new line, and
It's a new line. Exactly right. Yeah. And I'll say this real quick too, because all the brothers from New Jersey Task Force 1 are operating right in Nashville.
mm-hmm.
So I've had some contact with some of the fellas from the team. They're doing incredible work. They're doing exceptional work. There's a lot of incredible reports coming out, out of that area with the task force units that are working over there from North Carolina and other states, but New Jersey in particular. And again, I'm going to be biased when I say this, and being a former member, I don't think you're going to find a more highly trained, dedicated FEMA team out of the 26th than New Jersey. And I do. I met some of the greatest people, and forged some great friendships with guys on that team. And the reports that I'm hearing coming out of there, specifically relating to New Jersey Task Force 1, are stellar.
Yeah.
There's which it doesn't surprise me, but it also kind of, I shouldn't say kind of, but it makes me really proud.
Yeah,
they're right there.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Especially if you weren't a founding member, you had to have been.
I was there for I was there for a while. I got on the team in 03. I believe it was 03, and I spent I spent a number of years there. I was a squad officer. I was fortunate enough to be a squad officer. I was an instructor. I did a lot of UAC classes. So a lot of the brothers in the cities in Jersey went through the UAC classes. I was one of the instructors for those classes there, and just real fortunate, man. It's a great organization, and in my opinion, they're second to none when it comes to the FEMA umbrella.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into the show.
Yeah.
So, where did Bryan grow up, and what got you into the fire service?
Yeah. So born in Camden. Our family is originally from Camden City, goes back a long, long way. And I didn't grow up in Camden City. Grew up in Cherry Hill, and lived 3 doors up the street from the local volunteer firehouse at the time, right there, right down the street from me.
Okay.
And back in those days, in the 70s into in the early 80s, they would have these, the big whistles, the big beehive whistles that would go off and just ring, throughout the neighborhood. And every time that went off, I would just, without my mom or dad knowing or any permission, I would get out of the house and just run down to like the last house on the corner so I could watch the rigs pull out. I'd see all the guys come in, from their houses, and then I'd watch the rigs pull out, and it just was one of those things that bit me then and never got away from me. And it was something I just fell absolutely in love with, and it was incredible. It was incredible. So
now, did you have any family in the job, or?
Not on the job, no. My uncle was a volunteer fireman on the other side of Cherry Hill back in the 70s, the 60s and 70s. I had some cousins in a fire department in Marlton, New Jersey, Evesham Township now.
Oh, that's where I live.
Oh, okay, yeah, right in Evesham Township. But they weren't Emeneckers. I don't even, I can't even remember their names. But if they're watching, sorry, dude. But they were members there. But yeah, my father, he was an IBEW electrician for over 44 years. My brother's IBEW electrician. My grandfather and my uncles were pipe fitters. So all pretty much like labor workers they were.
Tradesmen.
Tradesmen. Yeah, all tradesmen in the local unions there.
It's something we don't see much of anymore,
Not anymore, no.
Especially generationally.
Yeah. So I knew I knew at a young age that I just wanted to pursue the career and get on the job. And
now, did you start volunteering when you?
I did.
Came of age,
I did. I started volunteering when I was in 1984. I started volunteering in '84, and at the same firehouse that was right down the street from where I grew up, and
which company was that?
That was 13-4 back in the day. Ashland number 2, and the district number was 13-4.
Okay.
And so we had a very large district on that side of Cherry Hill, on the east side of Cherry Hill. So we actually had a substation on Springdale Road, which was 13-9.
Okay.
And we had career firemen there at Third and Burt Mill, just like daytime guys, but there was a crew of 4. There was 4 guys, 5 guys. And then they had another crew down there at 13-9. And back in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s, like that, you had volunteers were just abundant.
Yeah. And they all worked local.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you got a dinner time run, like, you would see kids, all of us guys run out of our houses and run down the street. And, I've said this before on another podcast where I said, yeah, you'd be running down the street tripping your buddy because you wanted to go on the ring. And that's the way it was. It was great. And I owe my career to that start right there, and all the men that were involved in that fire department that went on to be in the Cherry Hill Fire Department as it's known now. And a lot of those guys out of that firehouse served as a major nucleus in what is now the Cherry Hill Fire Department over the years. And it's a debt that I can never repay to those guys. Those guys are, they mean everything to me. And I'm forever grateful. And, just, I can't say enough about it. Just great people, and incredibly blessed that I was to be around guys like that in our neighborhood. And to be honest with you, Nick, there's probably, out of all my friends, maybe 3 of them didn't go the route of police or fire. Wow. And another like 20 did. So it really was something else. It was great.
So now you got on the job, and they're a Title 40 town, so they run their own chief's test. Yeah. I remember I took that test a couple times in the early 2000s, but they were hiring 1 or 2, and at the time 300 guys were taking the test.
And that's so. I'll give you a little track record of me in terms of taking tests. So I took NYPD in 1989 with 46,000 people. And that was when you took that test back in that day, they still had the 3 police departments. It was NYPD, transit, and housing.
Yeah.
So when you filled out your application card, and then it had all 3 departments, because you were taking the test for all 3 departments. And then you had to list which department you would like to be processed by should you complete the phases of testing. Okay. And obviously everybody's going to check NYPD, right? Yeah. So I put NYPD 1, transit 2, and housing 3, Okay. And then in 1993, I got called, and I just totally was like, okay, well, I got my score, I did well. And back in the day, they would give you this yellow card, and it had bands on it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So your bands would, that would be the band you're in, depicting your score on the written. Okay. So I was in band number 1 by the skin of my rear end, and I got called in 1993, and I was assigned, and then I had to go to Queens to go through all the medical stuff out in Queens. And then after that, I was assigned an investigator, detective out of the 2-6 in Harlem. So then I had to go up there and just hand paperwork in. And, you want to talk about like getting your balls broke, because they'd be like, okay, I work 4 to 12. So I need you up here at the 2-6 on Friday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, and they knew I'm coming from South Jersey, right? So I'm like, I'm leaving my house at like 12.
Yeah.
know? And I'm sitting in.
How bad does this kid want it?
Yeah, right. So now it's like I find myself sitting in a parking lot in Harlem in 1993. You know what I mean? And you could start seeing the regentrification of the neighborhoods, right? But still like the old fire factory. You could still see the the remnants of the fire factory. So I did that, took that, And during that time, I was taking a lot, and I took FDNY, and I took FDNY with 68,000 people.
Oof.
Yeah, right.
Oof.
So yeah, and got my ticket for that. But I never got a chance to take the physical agility. I scored like a 93.5 on the written, but I wasn't in that band where they wanted, to bring guys in.
64,000 people.
You know what I mean? So, and it's like, hey, whatever. But in that time, I was still taking tests, and the whole time the goal was Camden. The goal was Camden City, and Cherry Hill, consolidated all their districts together and formed the one fire department. I was hired on as a provisional fireman in early '94, January of '94. Took the written exam there. Scored better than I thought I was going to do, and then I got hired in '90. I got hired in '95, early '95. Yeah, I think early '95 I got hired, and so it was like I did like 2 years in Cherry, almost 3. The 1 year of provisional, but I bought it back, so it's like it falls into the pension. So it was 3 years on the job, and then I had already taken the Camden test, and so when I took the Camden test, and then I got all my scores back, and I landed really well on the list. I was like, oh man, I'm right there, like I'm on the doorstep, and all of the guys, like all my classmates and I, we kept getting notified by the city. Like November of '96, we were getting notified, hey, here's your letter of intent. You're going to get hired in December or whatever it was. And then it got pushed back to February '97. So February 2nd, we got sworn in of '97.
Okay.
And then, there it was. I was, fulfilled my dream and my childhood dream. And, I was officially a city fireman recruit. Yeah. And off to Proby school I went. And,
now, what was the Proby school like back then?
Proby school was it was 16 weeks. We did 16 weeks, and my class, my class was the first class that did a 3-week EMT class.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
3 weeks.
And I was already an EMT because I was an EMT. When I was on the job in Cherry Hill, I was an EMT.
Okay.
So I was already an EMT. So I didn't. I basically what I was doing was playing victim. And trying to help my classmates out as much as I could, because I would tell them, guys, look, just because I'm an EMT doesn't mean I'm a good one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm only doing this because I got on the job from the other fire department, but yeah, so we did that, and and all my classmates passed, man. They kicked ass,
Really?
they all got their EMT, and and like, it would be funny because guys would be like, yo, B, man, like, dude, do we gotta like, jam stuff down somebody's throat or something like this? I said, nah, dude, you don't have to do nothing like that. I said, you'll probably see medics do that, but we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
I said, the good thing about Camden Fire Department is the extent of our first aid and EMS is assisting in a lift or force entry into a building. You know what I mean? For
works
EMS.
For me.
Yeah. Or like on a car wreck, maybe hold somebody stable so EMS can get in there and put a collar on. But yeah, and so it was that was the first the one hurdle, and it was, like I said, it was a crash course in 3 weeks, and all the brothers did great, man. They all passed, and it was it was funny. We were all laughing it off. But yeah, it was 16 weeks long, and it was the basic Fire One curriculum back in those days, and
this is a hose, this is a nozzle.
Yeah, which obviously hasn't changed.
No,
it really hasn't. And I'm not saying like, and again, and to my ignorance, I haven't been in the IFSTA manuals in a little while, but if you can master the basics and just absorb the basics as much as you can, in my opinion, the key, if you can master the basics, you're going to be the Jedi. You will be the Jedi, and just that's all it is. No matter what line of work, like the guys that I know that worked at the Delta unit in the Army down here, and that's what they say, man. You know, all the
Yeah.
Ranger guys, same thing. They're like, dude, you mastered the basics, bro. You know, you got to keep driving, and you know, that's where it starts. You know, discipline. You know, in those skill sets. So,
well, and like another veteran Cherry Hill guy that was on the show earlier this year, Chief Darrell Riley.
mm-hmm.
You know, what is it?
Did I lose you? You still there, bud?
I don't know what the hell I just did.
I don't know either, but we're here.
But Chief Riley was saying, let me pull it up. I don't want to.
Dennis Riley was one of my captains in Cherry Hill.
The comfort zone is where excellence goes to die.
Yeah. He was one of my captains in Cherry Hill when I worked in Cherry Hill. So I haven't seen Dennis in a long time. Dennis is a sweetheart of a guy. I always like breaking his stones when I see him, but he knows I'm doing it out of love. You know,
great guy. I was watching him on Facebook. He's always posting his workouts now. Jesus.
Yeah, man. He's you know, he's you know, and it's awesome to see, because I'm a firm advocate of that. You gotta get your body going, man, especially in the fire department. That's, you know, you're being called to from a 0 mile an hour to 150, you know, to somebody's worst day of their life. And so, you know, you're there to perform.
And you got to be, you know, and you got to be on top of your game, not, you know, and you know, your neighborhood, and know your equipment, and have a plan A, B, C. Because, you know, you talk about Delta guys and Rangers and SEALs, and, you know, those guys, before they go out on an op, they train and they kick that same door 30, 40, 50 times. You don't know when that bell's going off.
Yeah.
And you don't know where you're going. You don't know where your next call is. It's crazy.
The ironic thing is, like, we're talking about that, like, one of the men in the company I work for here, Raven 22 Harrow Group, right out of Jonesboro, Tennessee. The owner, he was 1st Battalion Rangers in the Ranger Regiment. Jumped into Panama. You know, lost his best friend in that engagement, and then he went on to work at Blackwater for a few years, and saw some heavy heat over there in Iraq. And the other man, he was 2nd Battalion Rangers, and a very respected Ranger in the regiment. He is jump master, pathfinder. He's multiple combat missions, but the name Harrell is after Major General Gary Harrell, and General Harrell is from East Tennessee here, and he passed away unfortunately last year. But General Harrell was a 2-star general. He was pretty much a SF legend, and he was a Delta troop commander during Somalia Black Hawk Down.
I was just going to say, he was one of the guys involved in Somalia.
Yes.
In Mogadishu.
Yes. He was gravely wounded in that fight. When a mortar had hit, they got mortared, and he took a very major hit of it, where it went up his back and his leg. They were afraid he was going to lose his leg. But yeah, General Harrell, he was in the Delta unit for some time. He was a squadron commander in Delta. And but he was also, when he was a Delta operator, he was at Panama. So when you look into that mission down there, there's a part of that mission where one of the little birds crashes, and it lands on one of the operator's foot, and the bird was already in the street, and then they were getting engaged, and they started, you know, going. General Harrell was in on that.
Oh wow!
And, yeah. I think he might have been a major at the time, but you know, but yeah, he was a real big guy, big burly dude, but a legend, you know, down here in East Tennessee, but also as well as the you know, SF community in the Army. He's mentioned on Sean Ryan's show by Tom Statterly. Yeah. Tom Statterly. Yeah. but I've had an incredible opportunity since working with Raven 22 Harrow Group to meet a lot of guys that have done these missions.
Yeah.
I've had a great opportunity to train with them, to shoot. I'm actually going to be doing a tactical shoot this weekend coming up that I've done over at a range that we have that's owned by a retired Green Beret, and it's a lot of fun. It's real challenging, but it's a lot of fun. It's probably going to be the last time I'm doing it because I'm too freaking old to be, running around with a bunch of crap on, But anyway, yeah, it's a great community.
It's just a mindset.
Yeah, I know, right? My hair's still in my head, so I'm good to go.
Yeah. Tell my joints that in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I need a can of WD-40,
All right. So when you got on the job, you got out of Proby school. You went to?
I went to 2 truck.
Okay.
I went to two truck on the 3rd platoon, and Camden Fire Department has 4 platoons, and we do 24 hours on, 72 off.
Were you guys doing 24s back then?
Yeah. They actually just went to 24s. I think like a month before I went into the academy. They used to do 10s and 14s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to 24-72. I went to 2 truck, and at the time when I went to 2 truck, it was 2 truck, 8 engine, and the 3rd Battalion in the house that I was in.
Okay.
All right, because we had more companies, in service when I got on the job, and unfortunately, cities of comparable size know that type of fiscal pain and all that crap, and the first thing to get cut is the fire department.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 2 truck, and the rig was a 1986 Horn tractor drawn fire spire. Yeah, it was an awesome rig, man. It was so I learned how to tiller. I was a tillerman. Yeah, best seat in the house. Yeah, and it was a power assist trailer, so it was almost like having a power steering in the rear.
Shit.
But the thing was, when the rig would go out of service for repair or whatever PM,
you were getting a 1960 something.
we got either we got a 1977 Snorkel, right, or we got the Red Sled, which was a 1994 Freightliner cab with a 1975 Maxim trailer that had gravity outriggers. So you'd pull them out, and when you spun the foot, the gravity would, the weight of it would take it down. Get them out quick. You can get them in service real quick.
Yeah.
But the tiller box and the steering wheel and the tiller was like the size of a hula hoop. It was huge. It was like this, and it was like the steering wheel was mounted. It was down like this. So like if you hit a bump, your back's getting wrenched, your knees hit the steering wheel. But yeah, it was cool because you drive in history you think about all the brothers that came before you that rode this thing during the war years. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it was cool. It was cool. But yeah, 2 truck.
I think you boys are still going through the war years down there sometimes.
Yeah, man. They put line in the street yesterday twice. Once up in North Camden, and then they had a good fire out in East Camden on 25th Street with a good frame, 2.5-story frame going. And I've always said this, and because I'm proud to have had that patch on my shoulder. The Camden Fire Department, we do a lot of things, or we did a lot of things. I say did in the past, but could we have done them better? Yeah, but the one thing that we do very, very well is put fire out, and it's only that there is that generational. It's passed down in the generational, mindset of the guys saying, get in there, be that pipe hitter, that hard hitter, and get aggressive, deploy your hose line and go get it. And that's something that, I noticed real quick, when I was in Proby, and carries through today. I mean, they, from what I understand, they got a really good bunch of Probies in the job right now. And they're being trained by a bunch of, really good dudes, solid firemen, captains, just, good people,
Yeah.
And it's good.
By the way, I know I think I brought this up to you.
That's right. You did.
This is
You
made.
did. You
the
did,
gentleman's name, Cordell, and there's an age, 1988 on it. So the background of that is Chief Jim McMaster.
McMaster's, yeah.
He
Chief
was
McMaster.
he was Car 2. I forget what year he
Yeah.
retired.
90, I think 91.
So he broke my dad in the investigation community,
Mm-hmm.
in the late 80s, early 90s. And he actually, before he retired, he started working for my dad's company.
Oh,
And
okay.
my dad would send me out with him, if he was going out to a job and my dad was doing paperwork or was in the firehouse, he'd go, hey, go meet Mr. McMaster or another guy, Jim McKendrick. He would tell me go meet them and learn from them.
Yeah.
And Chief McMaster and his now late wife were downsizing, and he had some memorabilia and stuff, and he's like, here, he goes, if you don't take it, it's just going to go in the dumpster. So the story behind is, I guess they were knocking down one of the firehouses in or around 1988, and
earlier than that, it was probably headquarters. It was probably the old headquarters, which was the Courier Post building, and they were building new headquarters right across the street on 3rd Street, 3rd and Federal, and that was in 1981.
Okay.
So yeah, that would probably correlate the time frame, I think, with that painting.
So that's actually made out of the wooden lath from the firehouse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the gentleman Cordell, I guess, was one of McMaster's Probies when he was a captain in that house.
Okay.
Whatever house it was. And he put this together and made it for Chief McMaster's retirement.
Yeah. Chief McMaster's, he is what a really just a super, super person, man.
Great
what
man.
What a great guy. And this is ironic. His late wife is sisters with the next door neighbors that I grew up next to as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, they were sisters. Yeah, the Kellys. That's the last.
Yeah.
And they were sisters. Yeah. So the Kellys were my next door neighbors. Obviously Mrs. Kelly. She's still alive. Mr. Kelly has passed away some years ago. But yeah, but we grew up together. And then when I first met Chief McMaster's, we got I was in Proby school when I met Chief McMaster's. He came to Proby school when I was there. And he had just retired just a few years prior to, or something like that. And but yeah, he's a gem of a man. He's a super nice man.
Great guy.
Yeah, good dude. Really good dude. Good career too. He had a long career. I think he got on in like 1961.
Yeah.
Ended up retiring as deputy chief. He was Car 2. I believe he was Car 2.
Yeah.
When he left. So
yeah, it was he was at a point where he wasn't going to be around long enough. Like the guy that was promoted to Car 1 was either came in at the same time as him or after him. And he's like, well, I'm never going to make Car 1. See you later.
Yeah. I think that was Chief Moak at the time. Chief Moak may have came in right before Chief McMaster's did, maybe in like 60 or 59. But yeah, that was Chief Moak. That was the chief at that time. And but yeah, Chief McMaster's great reputation. Like I said, I can't say enough nice about him. I every time I do see him when I'm in Jersey, if I'm at a function or something like that, which hasn't been often, but I do talk to him through Facebook. Really sweetheart of a man.
We were doing a fire investigation one day together, and he's like, well, Mickey, 30 years tomorrow. I'm like, 30 years? Why? He goes, I'm retired 30 years tomorrow. Yeah. I'm like, what? Yeah. No, I mean, this is going back probably 10, 12 years now. I'm like, you've been retired 30 years? I was like, I'm not even 30 years old yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I hope I get that out of it.
Yeah, right.
But it's the God bless him, man. Thank God.
So you get on. I got this picture of you hopping a fence.
Yeah. This was I was actually in the rescue at that time as a fireman, and so the fence. Okay, so this is a mischief night fire.
Oh wow!
In 98, I think it is 98, and the gentleman that you see there with his back to you, that is Ronnie Boyle. And Ronnie Boyle is a 33-year member, obviously retired, but 33-year member of the fire department and a Rescue 1 guy.
Okay.
Retired, just a incredible person, great man. I love him to death, and it was an incredible honor to work alongside of him and become friends with him and laugh, because he is a character. He's a piece of work, and I'll tell you though, him and so many of those guys that got on in like 68, 69, actually from like 66 on.
Okay.
Man, they were some firefighting dudes up till the day they left. And, it was such a freaking privilege and honor of mine to work alongside of guys like that. And that was Ronnie. And Ronnie had a contagious laugh. And, I'm hopping this fence, and this is on Biderman Avenue. So there's like 2 1.5-story bungalows that are going full tilt like this.
Okay.
And this is a mischief night fire. And I'm jumping the fence. As I'm jumping the fence, Ronnie and Ronnie has a colorful use of metaphors as he's talking to you. Like in every other word, is F this, F that. But it is just fun. He was just he's a great guy. I haven't had a chance to see him often because, me moving down here, but he lives in Florida, but then he goes back up to Jersey during the summertime and down the shore where him and his wife, Christine, have a house down there in Ocean City. His son's on the job in Ocean City Fire Department.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but
yeah. Now, what, back then, what was the process to get to rescue? Was it a bid system? Was it,
no,
you had to go out and get because I know some departments had, like, you had to go get the certifications to even, like, you had to be qualified to apply.
Yeah, there was like, if that was, I'll put it this way, Cherry Hill gave me the opportunity to go to any class I wanted. So I just, gravitated towards that tech rescue environment and did all that. But so to answer your question, per the contract, there is a bid that goes by seniority. Okay. So how I got there was they went through a list of dudes that were far senior to me. And, and I didn't even know I was in the mix, to be brutally honest with you. I had no idea. And so I was at 2 truck and phone rings. My captain answers. We were in the kitchen. My captain answers. He's like, "Yo, kid, telephone. That's Chief Stinger. He was car 3 at the time." And forgive me, he may have been car 2. I don't know. But I forget. But anyway, he called me. I said, "Hey, Chief, how you doing?" He said, "Hey, Bryan, listen, would you like to go to the rescue?" And I just thought it was like a detail. You know what I mean?
Like for the day.
I thought, and I kind of thought it was weird because my battalion chief, would obviously know because we had the battalion right in the house. And I said, "Yeah, sure. Like for like a detail, like, like, oh, no, we want to put you over there, keep you on the same platoon, just put you over there." And I was, wow. And I was out of my Proby time, maybe 6 months, 7 months.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And what happened was, I asked, I said, didn't anybody want to go there? And they're like, no, not all the other senior guys didn't want to take it. And so I was like, yeah, sure, and that was the start of my journey in the rescue. And I spent 10 years as a fireman in rescue right before I got promoted. And in 08, there's me there. Yeah. And that was on the Avenue. That was when we were on the Avenue. So right there is Captain Mike DePascal. That's myself. That's Manny Martinez, and that's Dave Dilks. All of us are retired now. And at the time, Captain Mike, he retired as a deputy chief. Obviously, I retired as a captain. Manny retired as a captain, and Dave retired as a captain. So, this was a great company. A lot of, did a lot of great work with these guys. I learned a lot, and we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. So it was good.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you were like, I thought you had been on a few years before you made the move over.
No,
That's
no,
incredible.
no. Yeah. And, obviously, the ball breaking ensued after
Hey,
that, right? But it's like, yeah, whatever. It's all good. You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's all
At
good.
that
And
point, at that point, I'll take it as a compliment. Take
yeah, yeah. I
it
didn't,
as a sign of jealousy.
yeah. I didn't care. You know what I mean? It was all good. And, I was just loving every minute of it. And, the great thing at the time, we were getting such a tremendous amount of overtime.
Okay.
So, you'd work your 24, and then that day off, the second day off of your 3, you would get called for overtime, and you would probably double out, meaning another 24.
Yeah.
And because we were short, we were short probably 40 dudes. And so, I could work at rescue, and if I wasn't at rescue, I would go up to 7 engine, or I'd go to 2 truck, and I would stay in that big local of that area.
Yeah.
And, and was very, fortunate enough to go to a lot of fires in
Yeah.
that area, right? That South Camden area like that. And, but yeah, so I garnered a lot of experience, learned a lot from a lot of guys. And, it was just, again, incredible. It was awesome.
So now, what was in your early years, what was the makeup of the department for the people that, may not know?
Yeah. So when I got on the job, we had 11 engines, 3 ladders, a rescue, and 3 battalions. Battalion 1 would be out of headquarters downtown at 3rd and Federal. Battalion 2 was out of 27th and Federal, which was 9 engine and 3 truck in Battalion 2. And then Battalion 3 was 8 engine, 2 truck on Broadway between Mechanic and Liberty.
Okay.
And the rescue was in the house by itself on the avenue, which was 7th and Kane, which was about 5 or 7, I'd say 7 blocks as a crow flies from down the street from 7 engine.
Okay.
So yeah. And then down South Camden, you had 10 engine, 3 engine. Out in Kramer Hill, you had 11 engine. At headquarters, you had engine 1, 6 engine, ladder 1, and then the 1st battalion. And that was the company complement of the city. And then obviously out there at 27th Federal, we had 9 engine and 3 truck. And
now, what was the staffing like on everything?
A captain and 4.
Oh, wow.
Some rigs had 4, some rigs had a captain and 3. But the clause we had in the contract was the rig does not move without 4. And we didn't have actors. So if a captain was off, it was rank for rank. So like if 1 platoon was working on duty, 3 platoon was up for overtime, and then 2 and 4, worked together. 1 and 3 worked together. And so yeah, that's the way it worked. And so it was we did a lot of overtime. And as a young fireman, it was great. It was because I was always in the firehouse, and that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the city, in the firehouses. I wanted to be working. I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to go, it didn't matter where I was working. I wanted to go to a fire,
Exactly.
And that's what I did when I was really young, and then as time went on, you still worked a lot of it. And, and then obviously life does its twists and turns, and, you start getting a little more mature and stuff like that. And, you meet a nice woman like I did, and, you start to run that.
You don't want to be to work so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, I still did. And that's the one thing, I would tell guys, like as a young fireman, when you get on the job, and you don't have a girlfriend or a wife or anything like that, man, okay, then make the job your girlfriend. You know what I mean? Make the job your wife and fall in love with it, and get out there and and work that overtime. Get out there, put the time in, go to schools out of your pocket if you have to, right? And but then as time goes on, right, and you're learning and you're doing this, because a job you never stop learning, right? Nobody knows everything. We got to keep going. And I remember my last tour when we had a little retirement thing for myself and my family at one of the local volley houses. I just said, listen, don't become the prostitute in the whorehouse of overtime, because it can get ugly, in your personal life, because you're never home. And I say that from experience. I'm not saying that, to be, like a cliche or anything like that, but I'm saying it from experience. And, there's certain things I wish I did differently, family wise and stuff like that. But, you know, I can't take back, you know, from the past, and you got to, you know, do that. But I would tell some of the young guys, hey, you know, get the overtime, do this, but also you got to remember, if you have a family, wife, children, stuff like that, that is, you know, the number one priority. And I get it, providing for them, I understand that. But, you know, seen a lot of guys.
You got to provide more than just money.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of guys, myself included, you know, was a prostitute in the whorehouse of overtime, you know, and it wasn't until the latter part of my career that I, you know, got out, like, just like, okay, I'll work it once in a blue moon. You know what I mean? And that was that. So.
Josh, I have to say, doesn't happen often, but I couldn't agree more with you.
No, I appreciate that, Josh. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. I've been, and I've been incredibly, just overwhelmingly humbled by so many compliments like that, and guys messaging me, and you know, one after the storm down here, so many dudes say, hey man, you guys all right? You guys all right? And these are dudes that I haven't seen, you know, some time or anything like that. But you know, I wish I could find the words to convey to people how appreciative I am of everybody. You know, the New Jersey Fire Service is it's one of the freaking best, man, in the nation. It's one of the freaking best, dude.
Yeah.
And you know, the people that we turn out, the talent, the dedication and commitment to duty, you know, from the tip of Jersey in the north to the tip of Jersey in the south, and then east and west in that, you know, from the volunteer section to the career to the forestry guys that are nationally renowned, you know, for their work, you know, and then, you know, you get back into all the dudes that go the USAR route and just hazmat and stuff like that. Jersey just pumps out some phenomenal talent. And,
I say it all the time. It's the motto of the show. The greatest firemen in the world grow out of the Garden State.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you know, I tell a lot of people down here, they're like, you know, oh, well, you know, I said, I will probably move back to Jersey. I said, you know, it's, my daughter wants to go back and she wants to be a teacher and stuff. And this isn't about me anymore. If my family wants to move to Alaska, I'm going to move to Alaska. That's just the way it is. You know, and
buy longer underwear.
You know, you know, and you know, you get people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's moving back." Well, dude, first off, mind your business. You know what I mean? And secondly, you know, it's my family, not yours, and it's not about me anymore. It's about my children, my wife. You know, and that's what it is. And you know what? One day, great, but,
I mean, I don't know how old your daughter, but one day you're going to be a grandfather, and you don't want to be close to them.
Exactly.
You want to be close to get the grandkids.
So, I mean, everybody's with us. You know, I got my kids with me and my wife with me down here because my daughter's going to East Tennessee State.
Okay.
She's a senior now, and she'll graduate in May. But yeah, so it's, you know, and people down here, they're like, oh, man, New Jersey. I said, wait a minute, have you ever been to New Jersey?
Exactly.
Well, no. Shut up.
Well,
you know, I can.
Yeah, I can talk about Jersey.
Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Well, when I was working at a VA hospital down in Louisiana, the guy, you know, I was alone. You know, I didn't know anybody down there, and you know, I wanted to go home. And one guy looks at me and he's like, every shift I worked with him, he's like, "What's so good about New Jersey?" I'm like, "We got theme parks, we got beaches." I was like, I'm 50. My parents live 15 minutes from the beach. I'm 2 hours from the Pocono Mountains. I'm 2 hours from the Catskills. I got theme parks, boardwalks.
And you know what else we got, Nick? You know what else we got that they ain't got?
Food.
Yep. People down here, they're like, oh, like my wife is Italian, right? So, you know, they say, yeah, she wants to get a white pie. They put freaking Alfredo sauce on the freaking thing. You know, she was going to, and like, I thought she was going to kill him. Yeah.
You know what I feel like right now? I wish I could pull up the picture of the Indian from the littering commercial with the slow tear.
Yeah. I'm like, you got to be out of your mind, you know? So, you know, it's you know, it's that, right? And, you know, people are like, oh, you should go there. It's really good pizza. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I ain't going there. Once a Cherry Hill boy, always a Cherry. Yeah, Chris Williams, man, good man, good man. Oh, 19th and Hayes. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough run. That was a tough run. So Chris Williams, right there, he's a character. He's just another great human being. He was a UMD EMS in Camden City for I want to say over 25 years. But he was also a cameraman for WPVI Channel 6.
Okay.
Yeah, and at the news station. So the incident that Chris is referring to at 19th and Hayes, that was a house fire that came in around, I want to say 4:45 in the morning or 5:45 in the morning. I was still a fireman in rescue. So we're going. Herb Leary was the captain, a very incredible dear friend of mine and a phenomenal fireman. Hard hitting dude. And the fireman we had in the company at the time was Lando Torres, Danny Stratton, and myself that day. So that was the four of us. So anywho, we're going there, and I was driving, and I was coming over the Federal Street Bridge, and 19th and Hayes is like right down off River Road, and you could see that this column was going straight up, and it was under pressure, and you were like, this is, so 11 engine, they're only right, it's only right behind their firehouse. It's like 2 blocks behind their firehouse down Hayes Avenue. So 11 engine pulls up. Tracy Church was the captain. He was on overtime. Tracy was a captain on 3 truck on his regular platoon of the 1st platoon. And Tracy's a hell of a fireman, good man, strong as a bull. And Orlando Nunez was the nozzle guy, and he was a classmate of mine. Who's still on the job and is now a captain at 8 engine. Anywho, they pull up, they report, heavy fire throughout, and it's the end of the row. Get there, they're trying to knock fire down. Well, and then 3 truck comes in, and 3 truck was that company on 3 group at that time it was a monster company, big dudes, like workhorses, Hob Matos, Dennis O'Reilly, and I think Jimmy Delgado was a young fireman in that company at the time. Maybe he may not have been. I'm not sure. But anywho, but still, nevertheless, those 3 guys, just tier 1 dudes, and the captain was Sam Balakis. And Sammy is probably one of the best firemen I ever worked with, and he ended up being my battalion chief down there at Battalion 1 on the 3 platoon. And Sammy and I worked together for a long time on the job, same platoon or maybe opposites of 1 and 3. But phenomenal fireman, probably one of the best I've ever worked with, and great captain. But anyway, we get there, and we have a report of people trapped. Well, as we're coming up, it's now you are understanding that there's about 9 people in this house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's blowing out the windows like a blast furnace. They got one guy that's on the front lawn. He's all burned up from the back of the head down. He's been skins hanging off of him. So, Orlando Nunez, he's in there. He's knocking fire down. Another hose line's getting deployed. Ladders are already thrown. Sammy, Captain Balakis at the time, takes his men. I believe they went in through the rear to try to go to the basement.
Okay.
So Danny Stratton and I went through the front door and hooked the right because the stairwell, was going to be adjoining the other row house.
Yeah.
And so we get in there, and everything that would identify any type of furnishing that could give you an indication of what room you may have been in was gone. It was burnt. It was gone. Wow. So it felt like forever. And then I finally found the stairwell, and I just ran up the stairs. Danny ran up the stairs behind me. And when we did, we ran up the stairs, went right over an adult laying there at the top of the stairs, didn't even know it. Got into the back bedroom. And when we got into the back bedroom, and the door had gotten burnt through, fire burnt through the door. And we got in the back bedroom, we found a pile of children, and the oldest one was laying on top of all the young ones, that. And the oldest kid, he was a boy, he was in his little tighty whities, no shirt on. And they're all right there by the window. So the greatest thing out of this right here was when I got to the window, I could see the tips of the ladder right there. It was already there.
Yeah.
So I had radioed out and said, "Hey man, I got multiple children right here." Boom, boom, boom. So Danny and I took down like 2 kids on the ladder, and I handed one, like I was coming down, and then one, I think a city cop, Camden cop, grabbed them, and I brought down. Chris and them were already at the bottom. Chris Williams, they were ready to go, and we started working on all those kids. Danny brought down the other kids. The sad part is we lost one of the kids. The others lived. The other kids did live. So it was a hard thing for me for a while. It wasn't my first time with children, but being victims like that. But I had just had we just had our baby, our daughter at the time. She was a baby, and so. But yeah, there was, and then so what Danny and I did, we ended up going back up the ladder, back into the room, found the guy at the top of the stairs. Danny went forward into the front bedroom and found another dude up front. Wow. Now, mind you, that's
place
just
still cranking.
Oh yeah, and that's just those people. Like where Captain Sam and all those guys are in, there's 4 or 5 other people.
Wow.
In there, and you got Captain Church and Orlando Nunez. They're getting their freaking asses kicked. You got other, it was an incredibly challenging fire, obviously, but again, it is when I look back on it, it's an incredibly proud moment because we did save a lot of lives that morning rather, and the actions and the sheer heart, determination, and commitment to duty of the Camden firemen on the fire ground, and with the conditions that we were met with, especially the first 2 engines, like Tracy Church and the guys, they just it's probably the reason that I shouldn't say probably, it is the reason that more people didn't die.
Yeah, that you say that you were able to save any of them.
Yeah, and so I don't know. There was all kinds of discrepancies and stuff, or rumor and innuendo about the cause of the fire. Was it arson? Was it this? Was it that? And I think it ended up being, please somebody fact check me on this, but I think it wasn't some type of incendiary issue, with a device or something like that. But yeah, that was one for the books. And throughout my career, I had a few like that. And
unfortunately,
that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to get. So, there's Eddie, my man. That's my man right there. So Eddie Frontado, he's captain there at Rescue 1, 3 platoon. They're working. I believe they're working tonight. They're working today, route. Yeah. And Eddie's a former member of Task Force 1, incredible talent, incredibly sincere person too. He's a good family man, and he's a dear friend of mine. I have the utmost respect for him. He's a hell of a fireman. He's got a lot of respect by the guys, and he does a great job, and he always has since the time he's been on. And all the guys have. And there's like we said, like New Jersey pumps out like just incredible people, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at some of the guys you've had on, like Aldir Pratt's, right? Chief Pratt's, right? Dear friend of mine. And, I can't say enough good things about him. I think the world of him. He's just an incredible person. Mike Turpak, another one is just.
He's on tonight.
Yeah. Is he? Yeah. So, Chief Mike, I love you, brother. And, he's another, Chief Mike is and same with Chief Pratt's, when you have guys like that and doing what they do and what they've been doing to make the fire service that much better in terms of guys coming on the job, guys studying to get promoted, they they're consistently making the fire service better, and and look, Nick, and everybody else that's on the listening to the show knows the fire department is, it's a family thing, it's a brotherhood, and you're going to obviously, you fight with your wife, you fight with your old lady, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. And it doesn't mean you don't, dislike the person or anything like that, and unfortunately, it's sad when you hear, you have a guy that you worked with for so many years in your company, and, next thing you know, you're told by another dude, like, or a couple people actually, that the guy's like, chirping and chirping and chirping. He's like throwing shit on you. And you're like, where's this coming from? You know what I mean? I don't understand that, I was like, you're always supporting him. He's like, hey man, go out and get it, and, always going to training or whatever and, studying. But, it's, I always wish people like that the best. So that I'm being
exactly.
I'm being sincere about it too. It's like, all right, bro, whatever, and that's that. And I understand you're on the captain's list and you're getting close to getting made. And I hope you do get promoted because you've worked hard for it. And, it's a goal of yours. And I hope you get it, and I hope nobody does to you what you've done
to all these other people.
Yeah. Or to somebody like me, you know what I'm saying? But whatever, you know what I mean? If that's the way you want to row your boat, whatever, you know
100%.
what I'm saying?
100%.
But,
hey,
what
goes around comes around. Karma's a bitch.
Well, it is what it is.
So now I have to ask you, and we spoke about this. You always hear, especially in the fire service on social media, a picture is just a fraction of a second.
Yeah. It's a moment in time.
That
will put you on a cover of a Norwegian men's magazine
as number one flamer.
Yeah, as a level 1 flamer, right?
Level 1, excuse me.
Yeah, level 1. And then you'll get phone calls from guys like from all over the state, if not the country, said, yo, man, I thought we were boys. I thought, you could tell me anything, And, and I would be like, hey, like I can remember Sean Mick from North Hudson Regional. He's still on the job and he's a freaking maniac, but he's just a sweetheart of a guy. He's an awesome dude, dear friend of mine. And he had called me up or something like that. He texted me the picture of the magazine, and I would not expect, or not, I shouldn't say that. I would expect if anybody was going to do something, Sean Mick's going to do it. And so the picture.
Because I mean, this picture even gets even worse because about a second and a half later, here's the Jesus.
Yeah, so this one was on this is South 5th Street. I think so, South 4th or 5th, whatever. But anyway, not far from our firehouse. It was a 2-story frame, semi-detached. The number 4 exposure attached to the building was a legally occupied dwelling of similar height and construction.
Was it legally or illegally?
No, legally, L.
Oh, it was legally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So when we pulled up, obviously it was a working fire, but it was not venting through the windows. And like I said, I got the other picture of it somewhere, but it's there's a picture. Now, the person who took the photo, I'll get back to that real quick. His name is Dave Hernandez, and Dave is well known. Yeah, Dave's well known.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of his stuff.
Yep, for his photography. Dave's a sweetheart of a guy, and he takes some really good photos and has done some exceptional work in the metropolitan area, from Camden and Philadelphia. But yeah, so he took the photo, but he got a photo of me when I'm walking up to it, and I'm putting my gloves on, and I don't even have my mask on yet, and I'm just basically throwing a quick size up, and you could see the windows, you could see the big heavy glow behind the windows and stuff like that. So I kneel down, put my mask on, get all dolled up, ready to go. I get up on the porch, I go to take a freaking window, next thing you know, the sun's coming up, and and so what you don't see is Squad 7 is, they're right there, and they're, they got the hose line. I was coming off the porch. Once I got off the porch, Squad 7, they were already rocking, ready to go up. And Squad 7 on our platoon was Captain Gabe and Jemmy, Tony Smalls, Joel Thompson, and oh my goodness, forgive me. I can't remember the last guy who was the pump operator, but
Is
an
that
incredible.
this crew?
No, no, that was a job that one of my last fires that we had before we retired in some abandoned commercial shithole that we had. But anyway, so Sevens comes up, hose line's ready to go, and they get right in through the front door. They start knocking fire down. Engine 1 comes in with Captain Vitalico, Frank, and a couple guys. So they go in. So then myself and Anthony Church go right in behind the second hose line. They were kind of doing one of these, like Sevens went off into the main body of fire,
Okay.
and Engine 1 started going up the stairwell. And that's when Anthony Church and myself just followed him right up the stairs, try to get a search to going. And so and it was really odd because this house here had obviously the primary stairwell, but then when we got to the top landing, it had another stairwell going right back down to the kitchen. It's one of the only Camden houses I've ever seen that had that. It was almost like a mother, it was really weird.
That's almost like a Queen Anne, like the servant stairwell or something like that.
Stairwell, exactly.
But I don't know many row homes in
Camden.
Never
saw. Yeah, so
wild.
So yeah, but with the amount of the body of fire that we had, it was front to back, top to bottom, and 3 hose lines in place, and all those pipe hitters on those hose lines knocking the fire down. We kept it to the house of origin. It did not extend to the number 4 exposure there, to the Delta exposure. So again, and it's just a testament to to those guys and the way they work and what they do. So I always said that the people in the city of Camden can rest easy at night knowing that there's men like Eddie Frontado and those guys that are on duty right now that are ready to go get them. And just great guys. Eddie's got some younger guys in the company now, and Stoop, just really good dudes, good guys. And I miss the job. Obviously, I miss going to fires. I miss getting on the rig. But it was time. It was time to go. And like I said, it's my family. There's one thing we want to get back, and that's time, right? So we can't. But so that's I owe my family everything, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without my wife's support and stuff like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, what is you were talking about this? This looks like a very long day.
Yeah, it was. That was what we refer to as an all-nighter. So that's 17th and Federal. That's Concord Chemical, and back in the day, they used to make soap at this large 3 to 4 story facility. And this was in 2012, 2011, I think. It may have been 2011. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was a very upsetting time in the Camden Fire Department because it was when we suffered layoffs and demotions. So the morale couldn't have been lower in the fire department. It was terrible.
Now, what were you guys down to at the lowest? Because I remember you said it was 11 engines, 3 trucks, the rescue, and 3 battalions.
Yeah. So now
you got on. What was it down to?
It went down to we lost engine 3, we lost engine 6, lost battalion 1. I'm sorry, battalion 3. And it's like a little smoke screen kind of thing now down at Liberty Station with the ladder company and the rescue. It's like, you got 5 guys running freaking 2 companies. You know what I mean? If a job comes in, the truck goes on all the, pretty much everything. If it's in service, So it's like, it's fictitious, for a lack of a better term. And I really, it's just the way it is. The truth's the truth, and the truth stings. And that's what it is. It's a fictitious, it's a veneer wall. You have 2 companies down there with 5 guys running 2 rigs. And they want to pose that this is in service. No, it ain't. If I'm in the ladder company and a pin job comes in for rescue 1 is out of service.
Yeah.
I can't magically appear like the I Dream of Jeannie, me and the 4 guys in the rig to go. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, it's a sore spot for me.
Cross staffing is
Yeah,
I believe
it is.
the word.
It's a sore spot, and
It's horrible.
it is, and because and I've said this many times, I was very, very boisterous about it. Ladder's not in service today. Go figure, right, Ed? And but I was very boisterous about how much of it, I didn't like, because I didn't like the way the men were being treated, not just in my company, because we were just so overburdened with so much stuff,
Yeah.
but all four platoons, and I if the chief asked me, not our battalion, not Chief Sam, but a deputy or a car one would ask me, I would tell him, no, this is bullshit.
You asked the question, I'm going to give you an answer,
and I would tell
whether you
them,
like it or not.
Yeah, and it is, and I we would all sit around and always talk about, what can we do in terms of rigs and stuff like that. And I said, look, man, if you want the aerial component on the rig, and you still want to run, we got to have like the rescue company, because the city needs it. It needs that specialized unit with the extrication tools and all that other stuff with what's going on in the city. Then why don't we just look into something like what Chicago does? And you get a rig that has like a 55-foot boom that's articulating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which now gives you even more advantage on certain things,
Got more parapets,
right? And it's small enough to still get into the streets that you do. You don't put a pump panel on it. You just pipe it for the pipe. So therefore you have, and you have more compartmentation for, the tools that you need, and you run it like, that's Rescue One, call it, Rescue One. And, it's just, I was spitballing that, that's something that I would talk about. And I said, because getting another big ass rescue rig, right, and still doing this crap across the floor, man, and then it's like everything new that fire headquarters is looking at. Oh, send it down there, send it down there, send it down there. It's like, yo, bro, I got a warehouse full of equipment I'm taking care of now. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you send it out to like 3 truck or something like that, and let those guys are very capable of, of doing something too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love it.
Yeah. So like I said, but like I said, it's it's something I didn't like, and that's okay. It's it's just, that was me. You know what I mean? It didn't take away, my love of the job. It didn't take away my love of the fire department of Camden City.
And it's not the fault of the guys that you're working with.
No.
So there's no point in getting pissed off and take them having to deal with the attitude and the
because then you'll have like because you get this thing like, you're coming off, 4 platoons coming on, and then you're coming back for like overtime, or maybe your platoon, yo, Bryan, they said you guys didn't get fuel. Well, gee, I'm sorry, because we were out all freaking night on bullshit. You know what I mean? So I didn't get fuel in the rig. You know what I mean?
We did get fuel at like 4 p.m. before we went 13 calls.
Yeah. And now,
I mean, that's not a problem I have. But.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, but hey, it's, like I said, the Camden Fire Department is, it's everything to me. The members are everything to me. I love it. I loved it, and love the department, love the job, love the men, and it's just incredibly blessed and fortunate to work alongside when I came into the job up until the day I left. With the people that I had the incredible privilege of working alongside with.
Did we freeze up?
Oh, no. I didn't know if you were pulling something up. I didn't know.
No. It freaked out. I don't know.
Okay. but yeah, so there was what was the other thing that I was thinking about that, because now I got crisscrossed applesauce. But so I was watching a podcast. I was watching the Getting Salty podcast, and I was on that show last year.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
The guys had me on. Great guys, Coobs and Louie, and the guy, freaking awesome dudes, man. A lot of fun and great people. And I was watching an episode just recently because I was bored or whatever, and I was watching one where they had a couple of the guys from the Warriors on, and I wish I could remember his name, and I apologize that I can't, but he said something that really, really stuck with me. And I said, okay, yeah, man, hell yeah. And he's an older fella, a little older than me, but he's retired as well. And but he said, even as a guy who's retired, fireman, this and that, and Chief Mike, he still does it. He does it to this day. Is because we love the job, and the job's been so good to us, and it's not a job, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle. It's your life. It defines it. Some people say, "Oh, you let it define you." Well, I tell my friends who, are not firemen or police or anything like that, you don't know, because yes, it does. It does define us. It's who we are, and we're very proud of what we do and what we did. It's not an ego thing. Of course, we'll throw our chest out a little bit here and there, right? But it's because we love it so much. It's what we always wanted to do. And this gentleman was saying, the fire service, everybody says, "Oh, the job's not like it used to be." Well, of course it ain't. Old timers told me that when I came on. And other guys are going to say it to the generation coming in. "Oh, the job's." You're right. It's not. Okay. But you know what? These guys that are coming on, these young guys that are coming on, are filled with enthusiasm. They're filled with, "Oh man, I want to go. I want to go." So you know what? Feed them. Feed them what they want, because if you don't, they're going to go away. And I don't mean off the job, but you're going to lose that mentality. And this heart, and this like, "Oh man, I'm a Camden City fireman, or I'm a Jersey City fireman, whatever. I'm here. I'm a North Hudson Regional, whatever, right?" And it's like, okay. And again, you're of course you're going to have guys like, "Oh, take it easy, take it easy." All right, well, dude, you know what? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not taking it away from him. He's probably a good fireman, whatever. But
and you know guys, what? So when I was younger, I was I was that young, hungry guy that there was two voices telling me, essentially to calm down. There was ones that were telling me, "Calm down. Oh, it'll calm, blah, 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 blah." And then there was ones that were teaching me, "Calm down. You're going to get hurt, because you're going to get into a situation where you have tunnel vision and you just want to react and you just want to go. You need to hone that."
Yeah.
And to me, my young, ignorant mentality, I didn't understand what they were saying, and I thought they were naysayers. I thought they were the rest of the people that were telling me, "Calm down, simmer down. It's just a game."
It's maturity. It comes with maturity, and as a young fireman, you want the older guys' respect. You know what I mean? So you want to prove to them, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And like when I walked into two truck my first day, there was like 135 to 40 years of experience in 5 guys at the table, right? Yeah. I didn't say a freaking word. I stood in the corner until I was spoken to, and but because that's just it. Like, respect is earned, not demanded. Respect as a person is something that you should give. Okay. But respect is earned, especially in the fire department, in that institution. And so that this guy from FDNY was saying, like, I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying those things. You have these guys, and remember, when you were a Proby, that's the way you felt, right? That's the way you felt. You were that horse rocking and rolling in that starting gate, like you couldn't wait till that door got, like, the bell went off and they hit that door, right? And so, feed those guys. And the guys are in the fire department that are the right people. You have the right people in those places to do that, whether it be a fireman, like a senior man fireman, or whatever. It could be a guy that has 10 years on that could take a kid under his wing, and learn that way. And, that's what needs to be done. And I agree with that, gentleman. I think the fire service is it's just as good today as it was when I got on. It was when you got on. It was, what I mean? It's just as good today. And, and look, we're not all going to wake up every day and be like, zippity doo, guys, rah rah, you know what I mean? And like, golly jeepers, here I am, let's go. No, I mean, you're a human being. You're going to have ups and downs and stuff like that. But and when I had those days, the men always, I fed off the men. you know, because they're that type of people, you know, and I was very, very grateful for it. And that's what, you know, that's why I think, you know, the fire department and the institution, you know, it's what we do. It's what we need. And I think I agree with that man. And I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but I agree with him 100%. And, you know, it's good. It's good to see, it's good to see, you know, the chiefs, like, you know, and it doesn't even have to be, you know, don't have to be a chief, but, you know, you see guys from all over the country. Like, I had the opportunity to speak at the Into the Job Symposium out in Wichita, which was probably one of the best conferences I ever spoke at. It was like 850 dudes out there in Kansas, and Wichita, man. Let me tell you something. Those dudes, man,
they work.
Them boys. I'll tell you what. Those dudes put some line in the street, and they get after it. They get after it, and incredible people. And again, you know, it's just another. It's like your body. You got a roadmap of veins and arteries in your body, and that's the fire service. You know, and everybody's got it right here. And then, you know, our patches are different, but the job's the same. Be contagious and a mentor. Yeah, Danny. Yeah, old Danny. Danny's up there in Patterson, on the job in Patterson. He's real good, man. I was so glad to see him when he got on the job, and that's something that, you know, it's not. I didn't coin the term. I don't know, but, you know, if you're contagious, man, people are going to want to be around you. Whether it doesn't matter if you're a captain or a chief or, you know.
I remember you actually saying that in your episode of Getting Salty.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and then the outstanding fireman, that's a thing that the old timers used when I got on the job. I can remember Captain Richie Marnin, who was one hell of a fireman, retired as a battalion chief on our job. But he said, them outstanding firemen always outside.
Outstanding on the front lawn.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm writing that one down, putting it right here. You know? But yeah, so that's where all that comes from. But
so you sent me this picture here.
Yeah, that's my last tour.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, this is my last tour.
Was this one before that, or?
Yeah, that one before that. So this is like a hodgepodge of dudes.
Is that Tyler Emery in the middle?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I worked with him when he was when I was a per diem. He was a volunteer in Plumstead.
Yeah. He's a great kid. He's a super. He's a hell of a fireman too.
He followed his dream, man.
Yeah, man. He's a major asset. Like I said, a lot of these young kids that have come on the fire department in Camden in the last 3 to 4 years, and I think there's been like 2 or 3 Proby classes since I've retired. But from what I understand, there's some really good people. But in this picture here, so that's Captain Angemi. That's Gabe. Who, him and I, he's an incredible person. He's an incredible human being. Him and his wife and their family. You want to talk about a guy that really jumped from one lane to another and then threw it in high gear. It's him. He has took an education path that has brought him all the way to a PhD.
I was gonna say he's like a doctorate or something like that.
Yeah.
I follow him on. We're connected on LinkedIn, and I follow, holy shit.
Yeah. So he is. He's an incredible person. He's an incredible human being. And him and I, when Seven's floor collapsed a little bit, they had to move Seven's over to Liberty Station with us.
Okay.
So the firehouse get repaired, and so he was at Sevens, and that was the company that I had at Sevens, the same personnel, the same guys.
Oh, okay.
So Gabe and I, the talks that we would have, not just fire service related, but just, life in general.
Yeah.
And it was therapeutic, to say the least. But I'm really proud of him, man. Him and his family, they're doing exceptionally well. And like I said, he's an incredible mentor to young firemen. And he's doing a hell of a job. Nothing to be not expected of, but he does a lot of work with leadership under fire right now.
Okay.
So they put out a lot of incredible, a lot of really good stuff out there from Jason Bresler and those guys. But Gabe's an incredible person. And the next to him is Orlando Torres. So Gabe and Orlando were classmates. They came on the job together. And Orlando, I was the first person Orlando met when he was a Proby. So I was in the kitchen, and he was assigned to 8 engine. And so I was in the kitchen when he come in, and all ready to rock, excited. He was there nice and early, and he's an incredible person. Very I hold him very near and dear to my heart. We've been through a lot together, and have worked our entire careers together on the same platoon. His family is incredible. Just another stellar person, human being, and obviously Tyler, who is going to, in my opinion, he's going to leave a mark there in Camden City, and it's going to be a damn good one. He's an incredible talent, young, and a major asset to the fire department. He's a very genuine person, so he's really just a good man. And so next to Tyler,
he's always been hungry for the job ever since since I've known him. And I think I met him in 2014. I think he might have still been a junior at the time.
Oh, wow.
He's always been hungry.
Yep. Yeah. So he proves it every day. He's at work. And then the next guy there, that's Eddie Torres. That's Orlando's younger brother.
Okay.
Orlando has 2 brothers on the job. So basically the whole Torres family is on the job. So that's Eddie right there. Eddie's again a major asset to the fire department. Does when there's a Proby class, Eddie owns a gym, a high intensity gym, and he's a personal trainer, and he's got an incredible client list, and he's doing exceptionally well with his gym. And again, he's another young, incredible talent, asset to the Camden Fire Department, following in the footsteps of his brother Orlando, and hard footsteps to fill. Hard boots to fill right there, because Orlando's, he's a hell of a man. And then right next to Eddie is David Diaz, and Diaz and Orlando and Gabe came on the job together. They're classmates. Diaz now is a captain. He got promoted.
Okay.
And little Dave, him and I, every time I'd see him, we always, he's an awesome dude, man. I'd be like, hey, little chubby, you know what I mean? And, but he's a hell of a fireman. He's just one of those guys, man. It's just like, he's happy. He's got a smile on his face, but he's just, man, you get on the fire ground, you're like, man, he's a little bulldog, he's just like, it's like boom, boom, boom. And, and I was so happy for him when I heard he got promoted, because he's a good leader. He's got the right attitude, and and he's a contagious person. Guys are going to want to be around him and want to work for him.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, the fire department, it's in great hands. You look at these guys like this that are on the street, man, and this is just a small caption of guys.
Yeah.
And then you take it to the other platoons and throughout the entire Camden Fire Department. It's just the bench is deep, and there's just incredible talent and assets that are there to for the citizens of the city of Camden, and that's what it's all about. And, like I said again, it's just, I can't say enough about how proud I am to have been one. I will always be a Camden fireman. It will be till the day I die. And it's I lived that little boy's dream. That's what it was.
So then we'll take it to your last day.
Yeah, this was it, man. And so real quick, prior to this, the last 2 fires that I had, it's like, holy smokes, dude, this is what we're doing. So we had one, unfortunately, it was a double fatal, and it was in a multiple dwelling, and it was a absolute shit show. When we got there, it was blowing like a freight train, and it was so bad that like Captain Ange and these guys were like, we were all together going up these stairwells, and we tried to get into this main hallway, and it was just, we were on our stomachs. That's how hot it was. And I've only been on my stomach maybe a half a dozen times throughout my career, maybe less. And we were on our stomachs, and it was just, you know, and then another hose line was coming in from the other side because there was so much fire. But that fire I'm talking to you about, there was numerous awards given, handed out to the members. One was a Class 1 award to Nelson Hidalgo from Ladder 1, who single-handedly rescued a handicapped man, you know, from the fire floor. And yeah, so Nelson's a, you know, he's a good man, good fireman, good operator of the rig. You know, good guy. You know, he's one of them guys. You want him to be there at that situation. And you know, so that was there. And then we had located 2 other victims, because the one victim that myself and Elmi Ramos located, the guy was actually hanging out the bathroom window. When we got there, we looked up in the alley and you could see him with a light. And unfortunately, when we got to the apartment, we got back into the bedroom. He was in the tub, and you know, he was a big boy. And we started dragging him out, and then other company came up and helped us get him out. And unfortunately, he expired. Him and his brother, they were in the proximity of maybe 5 or 6 feet of each other.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know I couldn't see his brother. I didn't know, but Captain Gabe and Captain Cologne, they pulled his brother out, and they went the other way, and we went out this way. And I was so smoked that as we were pulling him out, I ended up just falling face down in the hallway, and they got him out. And unfortunately, they both succumbed to their injuries. So, and then the very last fire that I had went to a second alarm. The fire prior to, I think, went to a third alarm. But the last fire I went to, the last job I had, went to a second alarm. Place was freaking just blowing when we got there, and we had a mayday, and we had a fireman through a floor that fell to the floor into the first floor, and you know, thank God, you know, he got banged up, but you know, he's obviously still with us, and you know, hopefully he's probably going to feel pain likely for a likely period of time, but yeah, so I was like, okay, you know, I got it, dude. You know,
it's time.
Yeah, I'm on my way. And so yeah, there were the last 2 jobs that I had before I punched out. And then the picture that you have there that you put up. So I'll start from left to right there. I got on my side. That's Tony Smalls. Tony's at Squad 7 with Gabe and Jimmy. I had Tony and I worked together when I was a captain over there at 7s. Tony Smalls is the quintessential gentleman, the man that you want to meet when you ring the doorbell to the firehouse. Is Tony Smalls, and he was a Marine. He's got 25 years in now. His son's on the job and is likely to get promoted, and his son is a stellar individual. Is a major asset and a great addition to the Camden Fire Department. But as I stated, the stock that his son comes from is, you know, just a champion breed. He's, you know, Tony Smalls is an incredible man and just a really good human being. Next to him is Anthony Church. Anthony is I think Anthony's got 22 in now, something like that, 22, 23. But he's a guy that he's one of them guys that, like, there's a class coming up, he's going, and he takes the money out of his pocket and he goes, you know. Yeah. And so it's like, and he's done that throughout his whole career, and he probably continues to do it. But you know, and it's admirable to you know, for him to do that, and he's really honed his skills in the hazmat. Anytime that we had to go out and it was like, you know, like meters or anything like that. We had to run and we needed to do certain things. If it was chemicals or anything like that, he's the guy, you know, because like I was another hazmat whoop-de-doo, but I hate hazmat. You know what I mean? And so, but Anthony, he's very good at it, and he's done it for a number of years, and so that, you know, round pegs and round holes. He was, you know, he's the guy. But you know, for a member like him, you know, that's something that younger guys should probably look to, in terms of like, you know, you want to go to training, take this training, take that training, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, that's, you know, that's a model that you can, like a mentor, look after there. And then you got, you know, Orlando Torres right there, right behind me. And you know, like I said, you know, I can't say enough about Orlando. He's just you know, just an incredible man. He's an incredible person. He's such a, you know, friend for life, brother for life, and they all are. But you know, it's you know, him and I spent a lot of time together. And then you know, you got Chief Sam right there in the middle. That's Chief Balakis. Like I told you before, probably one of the best firemen I ever worked with, and
Okay.
you know, incredible knowledge, the knowledge, the skill sets, the ability, and he has passed that on to, you know, many Camden firemen, and has, you know, guys that worked for him, you know, the reputation of a pipe hitting company, and you know, getting the job done, man. And I'd say my last 2 years on the job was probably some of the best I had because of the group of guys. You know what I mean? Chief Sam was our battalion chief, and it was just like, man, there was nothing we couldn't do. He was a fireman's. He's a fireman's fireman. He was the chief in the street that, you know what, if we were in there and if it was getting bad, if it got sticky, he was like, yo, man, yo, what the hell's going on? You know, because he had that much trust in us. But he also, you know, seeing what he's seeing, and if we told him, hey, chief, we're getting it right now, he'll tell you, I'm giving you like 30 seconds. If you ain't
Yeah.
get order on this, you know what I mean? I got to get you out of there. But yeah, just a great leader, incredibly talented, and knowledge and ability. It's a good man to work for. And like I said, there's Gabe, Captain Gabe, Ange right there. Everybody knows, you know, where I'm at with him. He's, you know,
Yeah.
freaking, I'd take a bullet for any one of the guys, but you know, these guys are phenomenal people. And then you got Greg Turner, aka Huggy Bear, right there next to Gabe, and he is the quiet grizzly bear, if you will. He is as smooth as silk, and he works like a bear. He works like a freaking he's a wrecking ball. And you know, the only guy that's not in the picture is Elmi Ramos. And so real quick, I'll let me just pause here. But you got myself and Orlando and Huggy Bear and Anthony Church in this picture. That's the rescue company. And then obviously the other guys are sevens. And the other guy that's missing in the photo is Elmi Ramos. Elmi was off that day because we had a little, I took half a tour, obviously, and we had a little party that everybody went to that day. But Huggy and Elmi, myself, Orlando, Anthony, Tony Small, we had a big gym in that firehouse that Campbell Soup gave us. And we would all spend a lot of time up there. But like Elmi and Huggy Bear, it's like, you know, freaking two goons on the Flyers team back in the 70s. You know what I mean? You know, they see these guys walking down the street. It's like, okay, well, two things are going to happen. These guys are going to get in the building, and the building's going to be removed. You know, and you know, that's what it was. But Huggy Bear, he's real close, I believe, to getting promoted to captain. So I'm, you know, incredibly excited,
awesome.
and yeah, I'm really excited for him because he's just a dude you want to be with and a dude you want to follow. And then you got Jimenez right there behind him. He was a newer kid at the time, and a sponge. He was he's a sponge. He just soaked up everything, and you know, time and time again, was in the right place at the right time, in position on the fire ground, doing the job. And as a young fireman, I think he's probably got 4 years in now, 4 or 5 years maybe, and it's definitely going to be his asset is just growing, in the Camden Fire Department, as well as Tommy right behind him, another young fireman there out of Squad 7. So Chris and Tom are both out of Squad 7 with Ange, and Tony obviously being senior man. And Tommy's just another, Gabe has taken these guys under his wing and really has pushed and guided those guys, in the direction that they're at. And, they're champions. They really are. They're champions. And Freddie, that just wrote the comment right there, dear friend of mine, he's a sweetheart of a dude, man. And you want to talk about dedicated fireman right there. Freddie sees a dedicated fireman, loves the job, and has a heart of gold. And he's doing the right thing where he's at, and guys, are going to follow him and do the right thing and take the job on. And I appreciate that compliment too, Fred. That means a lot. Thank you. And but yeah, they're the guys, and like I said, man, if I could bottle up my career into a bottle and label it, I'd be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Because everybody would want to drink that. And it's I'll forever be grateful to the City of Camden and Fire Department, and all the men and women that I had the opportunity to work with. And they'll always be my brothers, my sisters, and and in particular, the guys that came before me. The old guys that we like to affectionately call the old timers that trained me, that brought me through the department, and they didn't get enough recognition in the days, when they were young and going through it, because they were the war years, and Camden was much like the South Bronx in the 60s and 70s. And a lot of them fellas, they fought the jungle war in Vietnam, and they saw a lot of heat over there, a lot of heat. There's guys that I worked with that they saw a lot of bad things. And then they came and fought the urban war for over 30 years. And they didn't get enough accolades that they should have gotten. And they didn't ask for them. You know what I mean? They didn't. But, I want people to know that those guys are, in my opinion, the definition of the Camden Fire Department. I just, I can't say enough things about them, other than that I was incredibly blessed to work alongside of them and learn from them, and sit there in the kitchen and have a coffee with them, and as time goes on in the career, and, you see the evolvement of the fire department turn from, an older generation into the younger, you know what I mean? It's like that ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
And, and and then it turns out like there I am in that position as a quote unquote old guy or whatever like that. Right. And, boy, oh boy, I still pinch myself every now and then. I can't believe how fast it went. And man, I wish I could, and people ask me, oh, I would do it over again in a New York second. I would, you wouldn't even get it out of your mouth, and I'd be back in line to do it all over again, and, it's, that's the way I feel about the Camden City Fire Department and its members, and, all the younger guys that just got on, the Probies that are in there now, man, I wish them the best of luck. And, you're in a great institution, wear that patch with pride, listen to the big men around you, absorb everything that you can, and, try to learn something new every day, and, hone your skills. And, you want to be safe. You want to be a risk assessment, calculating risk and stuff. But at the end of the day, it is a dangerous job.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we're to quote Dennis Smith from 1972, technology has not shown us another way to fight a fire other than getting very, very close to it.
Yeah.
And, that's what we got to do. You can be very aggressive in your extinguishment efforts if you have to go into a quote unquote defensive operation. My personal opinion, I don't think there is no such thing as a defensive operation. Everything is offensive and aggressive because we're still applying water to a forward progress of fire to, stop its spread, minimize damage, and, extinguish it. Even if we're doing it from a tower ladder or on the ground or on a deck gun, it's still an offensive operation because we're meeting a forward progress of fire that, it's our job to think. The other thing is, with firemen, and I know guys have probably heard this before, and it's, there's plenty of firemen out there that offer tremendous amount of tutelage, education, tactics, and strategy and stuff like that. And take it. See what it may not be that applicable to you in your arena that you fight your fires in, but the people that you serve are the priority. The people that you serve are the priority. You are there to inherit their problems for a living. That's what we do. Okay, is to inherit people's problems for a living. And we're going to somebody's place on the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says, but at the end of the day, I didn't care what color their skin was. I didn't care how they lived. I didn't care. It didn't matter. Now I could say something to a guy, behind a rig, like, damn, bro, what the hell, man? You know what I mean? But that is somebody's property. It's, and our job is to,
that's all they have,
is to kill the problem, right?
Yep.
To kill that problem. And the problem that we inherit is a violent problem. Fire is a very violent thing. So the only way to kill it is with overwhelming violence of action.
Yep.
You've got to kill it. And that's just, there's no pussyfooting around it. You got to kill it. And,
Amen.
I just, I cheer the guys on, encourage all firemen out there, and, you guys in Jersey, and, Jersey's it, man. Jersey's it. Everybody else can go pound sand. I don't care what anybody says,
Well,
and if you're doing it, let me just one thing here, Nick, and if you're doing it, man, and you guys that are looking to get on the job, you guys that are on the job, you're looking to get promoted, man, Chief Mike Turpek, man, Chief Pratt's, they're right there, bro. I'm telling you.
All right. So real quick, we'll get to the Jersey questions if you're ready for it.
Yeah, let them have it. How about it?
Number 1, is it pork roll or Taylor ham?
Freaking pork roll, man. It's pork roll.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a debate in this. I don't know how, but there's a debate in this state.
Taylor Ham's the company that makes pork roll.
Amen.
Gavel has been dropped.
The best pizza.
Oh man. Ooh.
I know you're not getting it down there.
No. So, all right, now that you mention it, I got to tell everybody this real quick, okay? So, obviously here in Tennessee, the pizza guys, right? So my wife, she's Italian, and just like any Italian woman can cook, and I mean just knock your socks off, right? From the homemade meatballs to the gravy and all this stuff. That's it's just unbelievable. So my wife is like, she wants to get a white pie. She wants a white pie, and they put Alfredo sauce on. That's what they call a white pie in Tennessee with Alfredo sauce. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should shit myself or throw up because you're making me sick to my stomach. You know? So, oh God, the best pizza in Jersey. Let's just say the state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
All right. Because no matter where you go, you're going to get a good pie, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Definitely. All right. So did you go down the shore or did you go to the beach?
No, down the shore. Down the shore.
What was your preference?
I spread myself out. I went from LBI to Sea City, Avalon, everywhere in between. Especially when I had my Harleys, I would blast up to Seaside, shoot down to LBI, shoot down to just putt right down the right down the coast, man. I thought I was I thought it was like Peter Fonda and Easy Rider, man. I just, go down 72 and, down 70 and 72 all through the Pine Barrens and everything. But yeah, I would do like from anywhere from Seaside Heights all the way down, but a lot of time in LBI, a lot of time in Sea Isle City, Avalon, Wildwood, stuff like that.
Okay. Next, does Central Jersey really exist?
I don't know. They say it does, but I don't know. It might just be a landmass that everybody wants to come to a common place and say it's central, but to the brothers that live in Central Jersey, I guess that's what we could call it. I don't know, but nevertheless, you're Jersey, and that's all that matters.
So if there was a Central Jersey, where would you put the north and south borders? Of course, if there was,
I would probably draw my line at Medford. I draw it at Medford. So from Medford down to South Jersey, the rest of you clowns are up there. You know what I mean? So because everybody up north always says, you rednecks in South Jersey. And I said, yeah. And when shit goes sideways, everybody's going to run down to South Jersey. And I'm going to be like, get out.
All right. Who are or were some of your mentors?
Okay, so going back to when I started as a volunteer, and then these guys were all on the job, but Billy Stalford from Cherry Hill Fire Department. Billy retired as a battalion chief and was a member of New Jersey Task Force 1. He's a plank owner, New Jersey Task Force 1. Billy was I love him to death. He's an incredibly dear friend of mine. He's I wish I could find the words, but definitely Billy. My buddy Kevin Scanlon, may he rest in peace. He was another guy that pushed me along. Steve Fiorentini, Ricky Fiorentini, Tommy Fiorentini, Bobby Giorgio, Dougie Hicken, Billy Camps, rest in peace. Just those guys, and I know I'm missing names, and forgive me, but those were the guys, and I learned like Tommy Decker and just guys like that when I was really young. Sal Paolini, I forgive me if I'm missing guys, but those were like when I was a volley, and those guys were all volunteer, but then they're also career firemen at the time at 13-4. It was before you could do you didn't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that we have in place now. But yeah, those are the guys, and I I can't repay the tutelage that I got from them and the education I got from those guys. Like Billy Stauffer from like just firefighting standpoint to the tech rescue op, showing me the ropes and getting me involved in it, and then leaving it basically, okay, go run with it. Kevin Scanlon in the firefighting especially truck company stuff. Then you get into guys like Steve and Rick Fiorentini, and you want to talk about guys that can operate a fire apparatus. Let me tell you something. I'm telling you right now, you ain't going to find better operators. I will put anybody up against them boys. And you want to talk about dudes that can wheel a piece of fire apparatus and let it rock. It's those guys, and they taught me how to drive and pump and stuff like that. And Bobby Giorgio, Bobby, he's a dear friend of mine, man. And Dougie Hicken, and just sitting down, listening, learning. Going to fires, when we had them, going to car wrecks when we had them, or just an alarm system, just an AFA, and you're going out there and they'll show you different things like, oh, okay, and you take that and you bank it, but yeah, those are the kind. And then obviously in Camden City, man, so many of the guys, Gabe Angemi's dad, Ron Ange, phenomenal man. Ronnie Boyle, Donnie Jankowicz, Ernie Santone, Mo Wilson, Darrell Lewison, good God, the list just goes on and on. Buddy Roxford, Chief Bud Roxford. It's just, there's so many names, and I I'd hate to miss anybody's name, saying that. But and then guys like Chief Turpak and other dudes. Like as you get older and you meet them, and you run across guys like Stevie Drennan from Jersey City and Vic Petroselli, Gary Haskell from Elizabeth, Johnny Berghofer from Elizabeth. These are all guys that I met on the New Jersey Task Force One, and talk about a freaking encyclopedia and a wealth of knowledge right there, man. And unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So you can if you could corral a bunch of people and say, hey, Bri, like, Bri, who are the guys? Like, this is it right here. These are the guys, So, but yep.
All right. Next question. What's your proudest achievement or accomplishment?
Husband and father. Because I want to go back and wish I did things a little different here and there. You know what I mean? But husband and father, and every day I try to be better. And sometimes it's hard. It's I fall down like everybody else does. And but husband and father is the two things I'm most proud of. And that's that.
Well, now you got all sentimental now. What advice do you have for the fire service? And I mean, really, you've been putting it out there all night. But what advice do you have for the fire service?
I mean, there's so many great people out there and incredible firemen, and just get outside the four walls that you're in and experience the fire service as a whole. Mm-hmm. Get out there, and if you can go places within the country, whether it be a conference or some type of hands-on training conference, there's great training out there. There's phenomenal people that you're going to meet out there. When I went out to Wichita and spoke out there, I was out there with Mike Lombardo from Buffalo, former fire commissioner and battalion or deputy chief of Buffalo. He's a legend. And Mike's going to sit there and say, oh, no, because he's one of the most humble people I know. And he's just an incredibly sweet man. And if you ever have an opportunity to sit down with him or go and listen to him talk, please do it, because you're going to be a better fireman and a better person for it, because his life is incredible, like what he's done in the fire service. And then he's a skydiver, dude. He's got like 200 jumps. It's bananas. Like we were sitting in our kitchen in the firehouse, and he was telling me about. I'm like, what are you, out of your mind?
I think he's still active with Christiana.
I believe he is.
Newark. So one of the departments down in Delaware.
It's Christiana. And so along those lines, so when I was out there, and I knew Mike before I went to Wichita, but I met Bobby Pressler out there in Wichita, right? And that was the first time I met Bobby. And he's a character. I mean, dude, he's a character. And he's a sweetheart of a man. And I didn't know what had happened to him on the job until he was talking in his presentation, and he makes a joke about it, and obviously he can now, but he was doing a primary search or something like that, and he said, this seems like a good place to take a nap, and he just what I mean? But I was like, holy smokes. But Bobby, he's a sweetheart of a guy, and another great fire service keg of information. But to get out there and experience the fire service in general, man. There's just an incredible cast of characters that's out there, and like I said, Jersey's just a fountain. Between Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, it's just a fountain of just phenomenal people. And, the fire service is so rich in tradition in that area right there, because it was born there. It's basically where the fire service was born, Benjamin Franklin, right? Yeah. And, I don't want to say advice, but just the words that I would try to pass on to guys and said, man, get out there and experience the fire service as a whole. Find out what other firemen are doing and what's working for them, and is it applicable to you and in your environment.
or how can you tweak it
or
to
how
make
can I
it
tweak it? Right. So if I can come in with a bunch of different pieces and then maybe collage them together and build something, and that could be the plan that really is applicable to a slew of other things. And there are no experts. There's a ton of knowledgeable people out there, but every one of them is going to tell you they're not an expert if they're and they won't. You know what, man, enjoy it because I'm going to tell you what was told to me, and I didn't want to believe it, but my goodness, it's going to go fast. It's going to go fast, and it is. It's the greatest. Other than I always wanted to be a professional baseball player, and I loved baseball. Played it up until I was like 38 years old, and but it was like But people say, oh, the greatest job, the greatest lifestyle to get involved in is the fire department. Period. End of story. Okay. Yep. You got professional athletes that have left professional athletics and got on fire departments because it's the best freaking job in the world. Yeah. All right. It's the best lifestyle in the world. Nobody's going to tell me different. Nobody's going to tell you or anybody else different. So you young guys that are on the job, understand that,
and appreciate it.
Yep. Love it. Love it because it is just, it's the greatest thing going, and learn as much as you can, take the bull by the horns, and be humble, be humble. If you make a mistake, if you screw up, own it. That's it, man. And, treat the people that you serve as if it was your family. That's what you're there for. So.
Definitely. So now in retirement, would you say that you have been unburdened by what has been?
Oh God.
I had to save that for the end because if I didn't, I was afraid you were to leave.
No, you don't want to get me on that track. Anybody watching is going to know that I'm going to blow a head gasket over that kind of crap. But no.
All right.
I am a traditionalist by bone marrow and every blood cell. But I will tell you that technology is a good thing, but that right there, done. Get it out. So.
All right. So, do you have any shout outs? You want to say hello or goodbye to anybody?
All the boys back there in the Camden City Fire Department, man, and to the Probies all the way up to the top. It just good luck with everything. Hope you guys, I shouldn't say hope, you guys are still kicking ass, and I miss the guys, and I don't ever say they're my guys. They're not. They're just guys that I worked alongside, and was fortunate enough to be a captain. But to everybody out there, man, again, I can't thank you enough for the messages that I've received over my career and then retirement, and the kind words and the gifts that have been sent to me. And I don't know what I did, whatever to deserve it, but pay it forward. Just pay it forward, and God bless everybody. And just remember, we a major disaster down here, and it's not getting better. It's not getting better. So keep these people in your thoughts and your prayers. It's only about 8 miles down the road from me. We were fortunate. We were on high ground. I was out in it with the company I work for, and it's bad. It's really bad. But again, there's people out there that are committed to duty, and they're making it happen. NJTF1 being one of the other units out there. So thanks, Scotty. I appreciate it, brother. I hope you're doing well too, my friend. Say hi to your dad. Thanks, Mike. I love you, bro. There's another guy right there, man. And you forget to mention names, but Mike Ionetta is retired chief out of Cherry Hill. Another just mentor, and a guy that phenomenal person, a good man, and him and his family. His son's a Philly cop, and wonderful person. Oh, Bonesy, there he is. Thanks, Bones. Appreciate it. You got to go back to spelling school, though, my man. You spelled my name wrong, but that's my man, Bones. Him and I grew up together. We were all volunteers together. So, great people. So.
All right, Cap. I'm going to put you in the backstage area. We'll say our goodbyes off air, and let me just say goodnight to everybody. Be
All
right
right,
back.
man. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, everybody, that wraps up another. I mean, this was a stellar. This was another amazing show. Run number 33 with Capt Bryan Emenecker of the Camden Fire Department. Tune in next week. We have past chief of South Wall, and I believe he's a current captain in Laurelton, John Sahatchin. I hope I said his name right. Anybody who watches the show knows that I butcher names. Tune in next week. If you're liking the show, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have a good week. Stay safe, everybody.